I just have one question for each of you. I guess I can sit over here, but it seems really far away. Chitra, I want to start with you. So your talk was really inspiring, and I'm sure that we all want to work in fabulous workspaces like that. But a lot of us are dealing with, legacy systems and sort of really established ways of working. Who've sort of got the tradition of both like interpersonal relationships and actual systems in place. How do you think that, especially in the nonprofit sector, how can we begin to change our work culture? What are some of the first steps that we can take to sort of go towards that better, brighter future?
It's a great question. Okay. It's a great question. I think that the industry and the way we work is just going to change very organically. Like it's happening whether we like it or not. I think more traditional organizations can start to educate, start to share information on sort of the evolved workplace. Start to share some stats and facts around, what does it mean to be productive? It's not really about hours you're putting in, it's really about what you're creating now. So as much as, you're battling this, I need to be in the office and there's a traditional work environment, I think that we can all sort of take collective responsibility and help share in ideas, whether they're articles, stats, case studies of other companies that are changing their work culture, that are starting to realize benefits. So, while it might be slower for more traditional work environments, I think that the education and sharing information, sharing the results will definitely help. And I just think, start slowly. Start by, maybe 1 day a week or 2 days a week of, starting to meet with your community partners. I'm not entirely certain with your day-to-day, but I'm sure that you have to go and meet with community partners and engagement and people outside. So really educating and saying, the real value for you as not-for-profit is start to engage in communities. And if you're going to engage in communities, it's not going to happen here. So I think you need to start slow. I think you need to start educating. I think you need to start looking at how other organizations are operating and try and institutionalize that. So be the change, lead by example, and start slow.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next question is for Jason. I loved your analogy of magic, but I find that sometimes we don't really even know what spell to cast, if I can use the same analogy. Can you suggest some resources to the folks in the room where they can begin to sort of get some of that bigger picture stuff, some of the places they can look where they can sort of have their technology imaginations opened up?
So there's a couple of resources online that I absolutely love, and one of them is called Hacker News. So the URL for that is news.ycombinator.com. And to be honest, like a lot of the stuff goes completely over my head, but that's part of the joy of it, and that there's a lot of programming stuff that I don't understand, but if there's going to be any kind of new emerging tech stuff, it's going to hit Hacker News before it hits mainstream media, and it really helps me sort of keep on top of trends. The other is a tech blog, TechCrunch. It's one of the big ones out there, and I think it's reading things that are outside of our sector, because I really do enjoy like nonprofit technology, but if I'm always reading like nonprofit blogs or nonprofit technology blogs, like that's a very specific space. And in order to get a bigger slice of what's out there and upcoming, reading some of those broader kind of tech industry blogs, and also just events. So sometimes even just going on meetup.com and looking up kind of startup events in the community. And I enjoy going to hackathons. I'm not a programmer myself, but it's sort of like being the last kid picked in gym class sometimes at those hackathons, because all the developers and like, hey, I have ideas, and it's like, yeah, but we actually know how to program. It's like, yeah, let's be. But just being sort of immersed in that kind of atmosphere and just learning a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know about. And I think anything that you can do to put yourself in a situation where you feel really dumb, and it sounds counterintuitive, right? Why would you want to put yourself in a situation where you feel dumb? But it's only when you're in that situation that you're learning stuff. I hope that all the people around you are like super smart, so that I can just sort of by osmosis learn some of their programming and tech knowledge. So between events and reading and just immersing yourself in that kind of atmosphere, I find really helps. to get more up to speed with what's happening in the tech industry.
Great, thank you. And I think that project managers and ID people are always welcome at hackathons. We might not be able to code, but we've got ideas. So Jane, in terms of the Internet of Things, sounds pretty awesome, but maybe also a little scary. What would be some advice for you as the nonprofit sector looks to sort of adopt Internet of Technology things? What are like maybe the main two things that they need to be aware of as they're sort of thinking about venturing into that space?
Definitely the first thing to do is ask yourself, what is the problem that I'm trying to solve? Like I've mentioned before, there are billions of devices connected to the internet. Just about anything you can think of, there's probably a device that will do that for you. So you're not going to run out of options. What you need is to figure out what it is that you actually want to automate. And the second thing is, as I have mentioned in the presentation, privacy and security is a problem that we're still trying to solve. Because it is still early stages, a lot of the time, not all companies actually have taken those things into consideration. So do read the terms of agreement. When you purchase one of these devices, do ask questions, read reviews, go online and actually ask other users what they think. And also to just be aware that anytime you are using something on the internet, they are probably collecting information about you. Go in with an open mind, open eyes, but definitely be cautious.
That sounds like excellent advice. Just if I can get a final round of applause for our first three speakers, and then I would like to receive a comment. Thank you so much.